All right, we're live. Hello, everyone.
Should be.
Give it up to Austin, aka Katajan, for awesome listen party, and give it up to everyone who submitted because this was some crazy shit over there. Really great month. Thank you, everyone. My name is Traffic. You can call me Mikhail or Mikhail if it's more convenient to you. And welcome to the panel of DoD overlords. Today we're gonna discuss and find an answer to the big question: what is DoD? And before you made that joke, I'm gonna make it first, and another one just to be safe. So this stuff out of the way, we're gonna discuss what is it, Dwelling of Duels. What is exactly a music website, a competition, or like what the community? Well, how do you explain it to your grandma? How it should be written in Wikipedia article on DoD, and why it isn't there a Wikipedia article? We have credible sources. And to help answer this question, here with me several people who were involved with DoD over the years. So say hello to Crimson, Catagen, Fox Dragon, and Ryan 8-Bit. So guys, can you introduce yourself, what you did for DoD? Crimson, you go first.
All right. I'm Crimson, also known as Born in Crimson or Crimson Kernai, and I created DoD. That's pretty much it.
That's the claim to fame.
All right, Austin?
Yep.
Who are you?
I'm Katajun or Austin. You guys just saw me host the DoD thing. I've been running DoD since 2017, I think, and I'm the current
Overlord,
admin, I guess. Yeah, overlord.
Overlords.
The Overlord.
We call it overlords. All right, Nate, please introduce yourself.
My name's Nate, or Fox Dragon, but that name's basically retired. And I did banners on DoD for, I don't know, like 8 years or something like that. Enough to get me some notoriety to show up here, which is pretty funny. But my first banner ever was in June of 2008. And then I did it for a long time, and then everybody gave me too much work, and so I had to quit. And so here I am now. Thank
you, Nate. And our very, very special guest, Ryan 8-Bit. So Ryan, how was you involved with Dwelling of Duels?
I don't know. I just kind of like inserted myself into things, and somehow people listened, and Crimson was like, okay, sure, yeah, run it for a little bit, and I came up with some voting systems and stuff like that.
All right, and we have the sixth panelist, like our virtual guest, is Paragon, who was kind enough to give me some answers to my very, very long questionnaire. And so I'm gonna read some of her stories during the discussion. She was also the DoD overlord since 26 to, if I remember correctly, 2010 or 12, I think it was 12. Anyway, let's go to the first section of our discussion, which is, that shouldn't be there, which is DoD is a miserable pile of competition, as this guy would say. So, first, let's start with a little bit of history. Crimson, could you tell us the story around the creation of Dwelling of Duels, please?
Right. So Dwelling of Duels was created way back in the day when the mini-bosses were on the old green easy board, or booger board as we called it. At the time, they were pretty much the only ones putting out any sort of guitar-based DG covers. And so there was a bunch of shit-talking on the board going on when this guy named, I think he called himself the Slayer at that time, and Hiroki Saki later, about how the mini-bosses were bad and how he was such a better guitarist, right? So he was shit-talking, and then House the Great and Serena actually started shit-talking back and saying that they were the better guitarist and they wouldn't, like, slay him every day and, like, out-trit him. So what I ended up doing, because I saw kind of an opportunity, I guess you could say, is I had the thought, okay, what if we put a competition together for this? And, not only would we be able to resolve this difference and, like, objectively see who's the best guitarist, but we could also get some kick-ass VG tunes out of it. So I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was Guitar War was big at the time. It was an old website where you could do like musician duels against each other. So I thought about, kind of making a video game music version of that. And the joke in my head was that you'd log on to this website and then you'd get a message from like Shredder Kid 666 saying, "Show me your running of duels." And so you'd like challenge each other to a musical duel, right? So what ended up happening based on that is that we did this. I set up this website. It was really shitty at the time. And then I tried to get these guys to submit songs, right? But eventually they got to a point where they stopped caring. Like they got so deep into the internet argument hole that they just didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. And so none of the original guys who were arguing, Shredder, Serena, or House actually submitted a song. So it was me and Radney. And those were the only two entries. But at that point, I really wanted more video game music, guitar-based stuff, and I was a terrible guitarist, so I decided to keep just making new duels. And eventually, I had to browbeat people back in the day over AIM. Like every single month, I had to keep saying, "Hey, do a song, do a song. It'd be awesome if you did a song," until they actually made them. But it just kept going, and that's the story.
Yeah, I really love that the song that gave the competition its name was not actually in the first competition. Yeah, you guys, everyone can go to duelingofduels.net and find the first duel called Ambitiously Shredding Month. It actually also does not feature any shredding, but yeah. All right. So actually, what I would like to discuss right here, since we discussing the competition aspect of Dueling of Duels, is the competitions really that important right now? Like, and how much it was important before, like in the old times, and how much is important now? Aren't we just like having a good time and hanging out with each other? So what do you guys think? Like, who wants to go first? Austin?
I mean, that's a great point to bring up. I mean, I think people still like to win, and I think one of the biggest differences between modern era DoD and old DoD is that now there's actually prizes. We do have the deal with Impact Soundworks, so people can actually win things. Before it was just bragging rights, and being able to say, "Hey, look, I'm better than these people. I got these many gold medals and stuff." Now, though, I mean, the competition isn't as from my point of view, it doesn't seem to be as aggressive. Like people, if you win or you lose, it's like it's a nice surprise. I think plenty of people still want to win, but it's nobody's out here like trash talking over it.
Yeah, I think friendly competition is a really good drive to improve. So that's why I always thought it was a good system.
That's why I didn't enter the first month. It was really toxic. I actually did have an entry that I was working on, but I was like, I can't do this. This sucks. But then, like, right after that contest, I was like, I'm in this. And then I was in it for a while.
Yeah. Well, you did do well enough to, like, what was it, 8 years later?
Yeah, and the beginning of that song is basically me telling the story of what happened.
By the way, Ryan, did you know that Paragon had what she described as one-sided rivalry with you? Did you know that?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I recall that. He was always competing with me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
so, as somebody who showed up way later, how toxic really was it in the beginning? I mean, like, were people really at each other's throats about it? I mean, I know that there was a period of time, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, Ryan, with the votes, where people were actually like faking the votes and really rigging the system. But that always seemed weird to me, and I could never really understand it. Like, how toxic really was it back then?
Before the word toxic was invented.
I mean, it wasn't like the worst ever, but people were just just talking a lot of shit. I mean, just think about how you were when you were like 18. 'Cause
Sure.
that's how people were. I mean, they were. I mean, yeah, like I think House and Serena were like under 18 at the time,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, so it's just a bunch of kids on these forums, just talking and not caring. And it's like, man, I look at even just my posts on the shiz from like 10 years ago, and I'm like, it's just awful. And so. I mean, I don't remember the specifics. I just remember it was just not really a positive environment, like what it became. It became something where people were encouraging and, for the most part, positive.
Mhm.
All right. Actually, I'm getting feedback that my voice is not very loud. So, chat, what do you say? Should I
Yeah, I
bring
had to
myself
put
up?
some gain on you.
Yeah,
Bring
microphone
yourself
there.
up, and then I'll bring everything down.
All right. Okay. I'll do it while we're talking. So I gotta throw in like another one real quick. So what do you guys think about the competitions like fuel for being better at production, performance, and like becoming a better musician? So how does that like drives you? And the same question goes to the chat because a lot of you guys are DoD contestants. So what do you think? Is competition important to you, like as a drive to become better as a musician?
I mean, the example for that I usually point to is Danimal, and listening to his first entry, which is really muddy and terrible, and he said this himself. Whereas, like, the more he entered DoD, the more he was pushed to kind of improve his production specifically, and now he's amazing.
All right. By the way, did it become better in terms of volumes? I put a little gain on myself. Hello.
Sounds
Feedback.
better to me.
All right.
But
All right.
but I don't know because I'm listening through a different thing. than
Okay,
you're sending out.
speaking of Danimal, let's go to this little bit that I prepared for the panel, which is called Evolution of DoD Contestant. And we'll talk about like learning things a little bit more after that. So, okay, I'll put it on the website. So let's roll the clip.
Listen to that growth.
Yeah, that's
That,
some
that girth.
really good growth, and that was still 2011, and you can
Yeah,
we all know where
he's a
Danimal is
monster
now.
now.
Yeah, he's a monster now. Exactly. Like he, well, I mean, I didn't think of it when I put this Pokemon little pictures, but well, Danimal actually had his music in actual Pokemon trailer. So how cool is that? So yeah.
In the chat, but speaking of competition, Powellman said, "Totally, this competition is what got me started on production and has been massive
Yeah.
drive in helping me get better."
Yeah, that,
Shout out to Powellman.
yeah,
I love his stuff.
Yeah, Powell Man's another one of those like just
yeah.
skyrocket.
Nate, you told me that his F-Zero medley is like the ultimate F-Zero song.
It's yeah.
So
I mean, I'm gonna cut a little bit ahead of that, but just short story. In the Japan auction many years ago, me and George did a bunch of different things, and I bought his auction, and I was like, okay, George, I know you. I'm gonna have you do the entire F-Zero soundtrack, and that still hasn't happened. But my thing hasn't happened for him either. However, then Towel Man submits this song for the 10th anniversary, and it was like, oh, okay, well, there it is. Like, just insane. And I mean, I'd seen his name a couple of times, but man, that song was just like, who is this guy? What is this?
So like the interesting thing that he just said that brutal comments in the beginning were eye-opening, and I'm curious, like, what do you guys think about all this harsh feedback that Duel of Duels were known for a long time? Because in my experience as running the duel, I had people like walking out of the competition because of the the atmosphere of the listen party, even though it was like much more mellow than I remember it to be. So what do you guys think? Like the harsh feedback, was it like necessary? Did it help? Your thoughts about that?
It's definitely good. Some of the best feedback I ever got was just like, admittedly, I had to read between the lines a little bit for some of the harsh feedback from like Snapple Man and stuff like that. But it's extremely good feedback. Like the best ones are from is like harsh feedback from people who know what they're talking about, right? Even if it's veiled as being like a little mean spirited, it's still like really good advice.
Yeah.
And I like I really love it when people do post reviews of songs, because I want other people to be able to get that same kind of feedback from the peers within this community.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think? Well, like in the lights of the toxic.
I agree. No, that was just like the stuff that happened at the beginning was different. Some of it was mean spirited, and some of it was it just not very mature. And it's I've seen the tough love side of in the chats and stuff, and I think sometimes it's just people kidding around. There's a difference, and I think we should all thank Snapple Man. Really, I mean, he was total ass to a lot of people, but like, holy shit, he had knowledge that was just so great, so beneficial. And like for me, he was like I felt like I had this like just this revelation. There was a certain point where I was like, oh my god, everything I've ever done sucks, and I know exactly what to do to fix it.
Yeah, like
and
Thibaut.
So he was a definite influence, and so like I don't think it doesn't matter if he's an asshole. It's like, did people get something out of it? It's like, who cares if your feelings are hurt if you learn something?
Yeah. I knew quite a few people, like on a personal level, that couldn't handle that kind of feedback. They like, it really kind of broke them, and they were like, I'm done with this. I'm never going to do this again. And I felt bad, because I was really encouraging people to get more involved in it. But on the other hand, I do think there's a person, like if that kind of stuff really upsets you, and it's not like, oh, you get thick skin or whatever. It's like, that's okay. Like, maybe there's something else for you. And the other thing about the listening party is that people just don't kind of understand. I didn't really see it hardly ever in this one, maybe because the month was so good, but people are usually just kind of like making jokes and riffing like during the listening party. So they might, T-Bone had a pretty good comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to repeat it,
Best
but
comment
it
I
was
ever
just
got
like
was...
really. Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah. Like the best, T-Bone said, best comment I ever got was someone said, my drums sounded like robots giving pipes a hand job.
And so it's like, that's really mean, but it's also just people are just goofing around. They're not really intending for you to take it that seriously. But if you've never been exposed to something like that before,
yeah, I mean,
it's going to be really, really harsh. And you're going to be like, who the hell are these people? All right, I'm out.
I hear you, but like this is what like this issue I had when I was running the panel and was trying to bring more people from outside of our little DoD,
exactly.
the SHE circle, because at that point when I started, like a lot of people on the SHEs like already grew up, moved on, like never came back. So the like contestant pool was kind of like thinning out a bit, and I was trying to bring more people. Some people were kind of catching on with this, like a lot. This, these kind of, I don't know, like locker room vibes. Like people,
Right.
like we like the subtext. We all are friends, but we're just talking like this because like it's kind of some kind of fun. But some people could not handle it definitely, and this was like, and I felt that this was kind of like the problem for me because I wanted to bring in more people. And like I'll read the Paragon's account. She said, like, in retrospect, I didn't like it, meaning the harsh feedback. It's a personality clash, I guess. Being on the receiving end of that kind of aggressiveness is hard to me, for me to handle. I know some people have fun with that kind of banter, and I'm not judging, but that's not for me. So that's just same point. Some people that you just said, Nate, like some people, like that's not for them. So like that was kind of limiting. In my opinion, it was kind of limiting DoD, like in the, like being like more universal. Though like we kind of like we get to this point later, but like we kind of like overcame the stigma of like it being the metal competition and brought in like a lot of like
Right.
various styles, genres, and instruments. So yeah, like I think we need to move on, but I want to like end this section with another evolution of DoD contestant, and this one is actually the guy over here with us. It's Austin, also known as Catajun. Let's hear how did this baby grew up.
Thank
I
you.
want to hear one of those of Ryan and see if the tone actually changes or if it.
Well, as Ryan said,
That's
his worst track were before DoD because he's that old, right? All right.
I'm just giving him shit.
Yeah, no, Ryan is the greatest. So let's move on to the next topic, which is video games. And what I want to discuss here is actually the theme, but the thing that got hooked me to DoD in the first place was like every month was like an album gathered around like a specific theme, like specific game or specific topic, which was very cool for me. And like over the years we had like when DoD first started, it was like very like obvious pattern. It was like the game, then the theme, then the free month, and like the cycle was continuing. But then like we got a lot more variety. There were versus month, like recover month, joke month, obviously. Like later we got bravery month, like when you had to channel the 1 minute song, which was like really good breather after MacFest month, right? And what I thought was really cool was a month dedicated to persons. Like when I first heard the Vert month, I thought that this was amazing, and we had a tribute to Paragon, who turned over her overload duties, and yeah, we have like set occasions to have a personal month, which we had to devote it to our fallen friends, Kane and Demon. So okay, I'll go away from that topic. So let's talk about what makes a good theme. What do you think? And what's a good month in your opinion? Nate, do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. Well, Powell Man just kind of said it, and these have always been kind of my favorite. But the versus months are usually my favorite because they tend to kind of inspire people to be more creative and kind of start reaching for things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't, just because it's like, we had console versus PC, and it's like, well, what is that going to include? Apparently, it includes some pretty crazy games, right? And then you have your basic obvious triggers, Chrono Triggers and whatnot, Final Fantasies, but then you have, I can't remember one of the names was like some horse game, right?
Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Sesame
Yeah,
Stream
Chicken
game.
Horse. Just like,
Yeah, Sesame
okay,
Street.
sure, yeah, Sesame Street, and so that's always I like that a lot because you
Yeah.
really don't know.
And what's
what you're
cool
gonna
about
get.
that? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a free month, but not quite.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
3 months in disguise.
Yeah.
That's what we used to call it. But
That's what
yeah,
Manifest always-
it's kind of drives creativity
3 months
because like people pick. Oh, sorry, Austin. People pick like sources that they did not consider for a regular free month. Okay, Austin,
Exactly.
you were saying.
I think so. Like Angry Polar Bear mentioned in the chat, some of my favorite months are the ones that like have a very specific theme, because you have to go not specific in the sense of like only cover music from one game, but specific in a sense of like how can I fit something into this exact box of this theme, like the snow month that we did. Like I did a cover from Donkey Kong Country 3 of like the ice level from there, but it just gets you thinking of like, okay, what are some specific games I can find that fit this theme, and then hopefully discover new games with new soundtracks you never heard of. Like if we did if there was like an edutainment month, again, I think you guys did one before, right? If there was another one of those, I'd be going deep down on like
I don't remember
humongous
entertainment
entertainment
month,
games.
but
Maybe I'm
Very
maybe
tempting.
I might be confusing it with the list of potential themes, because
it was like sports month. I think like that was the most left field that like I remember.
Yeah.
Well, before we got to some really crazy topics, like I remember like there was some months like that I could not figure out what's it about. Like one versus many, what is this? Like, and I asked Paragon,
That's a
and
really like abstract
Yeah.
concept too. I
well,
like that.
actually, it was like single player versus multiplayer, and we had a multiplayer month,
That's
which was
too easy.
collaboration month in disguise. Yeah, like well, that's what Paragon said to me. So, what makes a good theme, in her opinion, is the theme that includes source material that people care about, start from games they actually play it and have fun memories, and also some games that they want to see covered but never see. Like, she was obsessed with video game music and got into a bunch of obscure soundtracks from Japan, but like very few people want to cover a song from Mitsumi Gatoru, and here's the message: seriously, somebody cover the music from Mitsumi Gatoru. But yeah, what I find
That's
it
an
interesting.
order, everybody.
That's order, everybody. Yeah, next month, Mitsumi Gatoru month. Actually, Austin, take notes.
Yep.
Put it down on the list.
Yeah,
It's interesting, Austin. You
2022.
said that you really liked those, like the winter months or whatever, because I always found those were the hardest to actually be administrator on, because people would come up and say, okay, well, in this level of this game, there's an ice goal. Does that mean this song is good for winter month? They got
That's
into
true.
really long
That's a good
formal
point.
conversations.
true.
People
So I mean, they were
recommend
good,
those.
but it was a little bit tougher on those running competitions in my experience.
Yeah, people. All,
So I always
yeah.
go ahead, Strippy.
Yeah, I mean, like people always try to bend the rules, like bend the theme, and I don't like. I was kind of a little bit softy and allowed a lot of things like people did not allow before me.
That's fine. I mean, it's a video game music competition, right? It's like it's fine.
This is serious business.
Yeah, so it's business. So everybody is very, very serious about video games, video game music. So I don't, Ryan, do you have to add anything to that? What makes a good month in your opinion?
You asked us this question before, and these two guys said exactly what I was going to say.
Oh yeah.
I love the versus months. I thought they were so much fun. Just, like Ice versus Fire. Oh, man, it was just so much fun. I don't like it. It was like the best kind of competition. And yeah, I love when things are specific. I get it that people were, would try and like squeeze stuff in, and that was annoying. But I still really liked the ones where it's like, okay, you kind of have to be, a little bit more creative. It's like the free months are great and everything, but it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to enter this song I was working on. It doesn't necessarily have to be specific. It could be something you've been working on for a long time, versus something that actually comes along and tells you, this is what you need to do, and you probably didn't think of this, but maybe you can think of something to fit in there. Like it was challenging. I guess to put it that way.
It was also challenging people to pick some sources, like other than, I don't know, like another Chrono Trigger song, which is actually like the most covered game in entire DoD. I checked. So, guys, what do you think? Like in terms of themes, is there anything left to cover in DoD?
There's plenty. I mean, you can be pretty imaginative. You can redo some themes every once in a while. Like every couple of years, you can have another like Ninja Gaiden theme or whatnot. You could do more.
What you really want is Ninja Gaiden more and more and more.
Hell yeah, Ninja Gaiden.
We need another Ninja Gaiden guy.
I'll come back.
Yeah,
I'll come back for Gaiden.
See, right
Another
there.
time where he's the only entrant, right?
How long is the potential theme list right now? Do you have a general figure?
It's split over like 3 different documents at this point. Like, what we do now is I get together with this year. Strifig and I got together and figured out just the whole year all at once, so that I wouldn't have to be scrambling to find stuff.
Yeah.
Last year I did it with Snappleman. We figured out the whole list ahead of time. But yeah, there's like, I go through the forums because people suggest things on there. Oh, this year we did a Patreon poll to ask like what were some themes people wanted, and we actually voted on them that way.
Nice.
Really
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I think like we got
It's
a year.
ridiculous.
We got a year covered, and we had some leftovers, and some of them were good.
Yeah, there were some really good suggestions there.
Yeah, all right.
T-Bone asked a question. T-Bone
asked a question.
What
what's
was
our
your
least favorite?
least favorite month?
So I can start by saying it's not my least favorite in terms of theme, but in terms of actually trying to get it done. I always disliked the tornado of solos after the first one, just because it was such a bitch to arrange everything, to get the judges, to make sure that they publish results, and again, to push people into actually making the songs. Plus, trying to figure out what song to do for a tornado of solos is always like a huge debate among like all the guitarists who say, "Oh yeah, this is the toughest song. Like this will actually move out." And then especially finding songs that haven't been covered a million times already. So I would say that's my least favorite, just in terms of running it.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Those ones are kind of a nightmare.
I can remember like the month that I did not like. Even if there were like 3 entries, like the theme was good, the song was good, so I don't know. Let's actually go over and pick some favorites.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's start with Ryan. What's your favorite month? What was your first?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, in terms of just the competition, I really liked the Clockwork one. I thought it was fun. It was great to have, House and Goat and Vert entering. And I realize now they're, when you listen to those, they're not as great maybe as you remember, but at the time it was like, it was such a great thing to,
But that song is hard.
I thought it was great, yeah, kind of. It's not.
Can you tell the cake story?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So my favorite month for me was, I think it was the first MagFest I went to, which was 3 or 4, and I just after that I was just like so fucking pumped. It was like, it was just like, oh man, I need to just get out here and make a really great song, and I got some new equipment. And I had some help from Norg and it was just like I entered the song. I think it was Solstice, and I won. And I don't think it was the first contest.
Or at least
I don't think it was the first contest that I ever won, but it was the first one I won when things started to really get competitive. And it was a lot of fun, and I was really psyched by it. And like my wife thought, she thought, oh, he's so psyched by this, and so she bought me a celebratory cake.
Nice. I love this
So
story.
it said, congratulations on your DoD win, which someone at the cake place is like, what the fuck is this mean?
defense. What did you do?
Yeah, right.
Did you launch the missiles?
I won. Yes, I won the war.
That was a good one. All right. Okay. I'll mention one more favorite, which is favorite of mine and Nate, and saw it in the chat also. I mentioned. By the way, guys in the chat, feel free to tell us your favorite month. But anyway, like the month I'm talking about is Duel of Duels 10th anniversary, because it was like, I don't know, it was very like full of excitement. Like a lot of people came back specifically for this. Like Eric Little Shack came back and entered DoD and like with like 1 minute entry that was extended by chip solo, and by chip solo I mean like he was eating chips on the microphone. But yeah, I mean like it also was like my first like full-fledged month as Overlord, and I felt responsibility to make it the best one. And I don't know, what do you guys think? I think I succeed. So Nate, what do you think? Anything to add to that? I can hear you, Nate.
I think that.
Maybe muted.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that a lot of that there was a lot of effort on our parts. We had like a list of all these people that were like, we should contact this person, and how do we even contact this person?
Yeah.
They're not even around like anywhere at all anymore. And we hunted down so many people that we loved, and I begged people. I was like, you got to enter, you got to be in this. And thankfully people listened and were like, yeah, I'll do that. That was a pretty good month.
Yeah.
Dude, Eric's Little Shack is in the chat.
Oh, really?
Is it? Holy shit.
Oh,
Really?
right.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Whoa!
it's a
Wow,
miracle.
Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Wow.
We never met, but I respect your work.
That's awesome.
Right there. I don't know if anyone's actually met him in person. I guess we've never been to Mac.
I mean, like we haven't even crossed paths on the forums.
Nate, I think your microphone is muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate, you're definitely muted.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
So it was just a special month. That thing was just like Brian said, messaging people, and I was messaging people, and just the volume of tracks that ended up, what was it, like 70 something? I don't know. It was
it was 52, I think.
The most tracks I think you guys ever had.
Oh.
It was just totally nuts.
And did you at that time you had to manually tag everything, right?
Yeah,
You had to upload everything.
Yeah, the amount of manual labor was immense. I still have nightmares from that. Good thing that we automated some of that. Yeah, like one month to mention is from Paragon, which is Recover Month, when everybody did their own spin on someone else's previous entry. And she specifically mentioned Xmark. She thought that his songs were underrated. And then Urian went in and did a tribute to the Dragon Spirit cover, which is cool. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic, which is, by the way, music. Music. So, which is actually music. It's a music competition. Let's discuss some songs and what makes them great. All right. But first of all, let's talk about like the sound of music. Like the first Duel of Duels website had a tagline, "Battleground for those who wield the X." So like the X was the guitar, and it was like for a long time it was like very guitar-centric competition, or like video game music resource. So, but like, it's good to see it expanded into like all other instruments, and we have like how many, like 15 harpists right now in the competition or something like that. Austin, you can
15.
correct me.
I think it's 2 at least.
It's accurate, right?
But
But what I
2
wanted to
feels like 15 compared to all the guitar players.
yeah, what I wanted to ask is like Duel of Duels had this live instrument requirement, and what do you think of that? Like in nowadays, like when sound production tools like that you could use at home like improved, and you can like just imitate any sound, and even if you're not like very great at instrument, you can like do a very good take just by like editing it together, punching in stuff like that. So what's your take on that? Is this considered live instrument, and like should we drop live instrument requirement altogether? Like, Creams, what do you think?
If you drop live instrument entirely, I don't know if it's still Dueling of Duels, man. That's the whole like basis of it.
That's true.
I would say that it still sets a certain bar. I mean, I was thinking about it. I mean, really being able to punch in like a guitar track still requires a little bit more excuse me, a little more skill than just like programming a MIDI track, like a piano roll. So I think it's still important. I think it's still part of like maybe part of the soul of DoD. So that's my opinion anyway. And if you ever take the live music requirement out, I'm just gonna fire you and like take it.
For the sake of our lives, Austin, never drop the live instrument requirement.
I know, right? Or else I'm gonna.
Yeah, like
I'm with you there. Like I think DoD is always like the community that it's made of, like, because I mean learning how to do like recording is a lot different than learning how to do just like EDM production or like most other kinds of production, because there are a lot of skills you get from learning how to record whatever it is you're doing live, whether it's like guitar or harp in many cases, or like acoustic instruments like that. That's a whole set of skills that I think we have definitely polished up here.
I think it's
Done so
appropriate
much.
to quote on Nork from the chat. Like he said that he owes Dueling of Duels, like because he learned to play electric guitar because of it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
But what do you think, guys? Where did all the guitars go? Like everybody's playing harp and I don't know, saxophones and shit.
I think that's great. Like I thought Hat should have gotten more wins when he started doing it because it was something different. It brings like more variety and different types of music, which is awesome. I mean, even I can only listen to so much metal before I want to try something a little bit different, have some other kind of spice.
Yeah, and I think now, like maybe back when Hat was doing it, I agree that I always loved Hat's entries, but they always seemed to be more like they weren't as well regarded because they didn't fit the mold. But now, like in the past couple of years, DoD has turned into so many weird eclectic genres. Like we even heard like some kind, like that Tintin track that we played earlier was like ridiculously different than anything I've ever heard in DoD. And it was extremely well received, and I'm excited for that.
And that Kafka song, like,
oh yeah, the Kafka.
like I never like 15 years ago, like when I just started like discovering, you know, video game music, I would never imagine like someone doing like proper Godspeed Black Emperor style cover of anything, and this is Final Fantasy, which is like usually gets covered as a prog metal, even by the man himself.
We still got some prog metal, you know. The soul of DoD is still there. We got that Chrono Trigger Dream Theater mashup, which was, you know.
By the way,
that one plenty of times.
Tony Dickinson, I don't know who this guy is, but he says that he plays all his orchestra instruments live on keyboard and never quantizes them. So that's a key to.
Did he say keyboard? I thought he said he just
fucking
plays
guy.
them
Plays, just like on violence.
All he said he owns an entire orchestra.
Sorry for misquoting you,
Entire
Tony.
orchestra in this house.
Yeah, I'm still expecting a full TSO entry someday, Tony.
Yeah. Yes, please. All right. Closing up this particular topic, let's not ignore the elephant in the room, which is the infamous DoD tone. What is it exactly?
Oh boy.
Ryan, can you explain what DoD tone is?
I don't actually have a metal zone, so
That's a good beginning.
yeah, that's. I don't know if I'm qualified to say, but yeah, just fuzzy 5 types of distortion. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, full gain, no echo. Actually, I have like another.
You have
little-
some examples, right?
Yeah, I have another little like video bit, which is called the also evolution, but it's evolution of DoD tone. Let's see how the infamous tone changed over the years.
5 distortion pedals.
Oh, sorry,
There
that
we
was
go.
some little technical mishap. Let's run again.
Good line.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh yeah, we built the city on DoD tone, and like
Nice memes.
if anyone's feels called out, I want to clarify that all the examples were by the people that you see in this little chat window. It's all
Yep,
us.
Nate Horsfall
Yeah.
players.
Definitely me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, except for Nate, but we have a clip from Paragon as a substitute. So yeah, that's DoD tone. So yeah, let's.
I wanted to
move-
ask you,
Okay.
just out of curiosity, did you guys ever think that the DoD tone came from like the obsession with mini bosses? Because that's kind of like where it all started, right? And I always felt like that kind of sounded similar to what they were doing, like the garage band kind of like super raw sound. You know what I mean?
I mean, it might just be just because that is a garage, that is a very raw sound. So that's what people with some basic equipment are capable
Sure.
of.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like a beginner tone, like when people just like put all the distortion like to the maximum, and
Right.
it actually squashes the sound and makes it undynamic, and you can make a like. Even if you're a good player, it kind of messes you up. So I think like it comes more from that. And since, as we established, DoD is kind of like the learning tool for a lot of people. Like we all have to start somewhere. So I think like that's it. So at some point you have DoD tone, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's part of learning process. Like as you can hear from these clips from all these wonderful people, and some of them actually won Duel of Duels at one point. So yeah. Okay, let's move on like to another topic. We kind of running out of time, and
What
so
Strike is
let's.
trying to say is that DoD tone is not a permanent affliction. You too
Yes.
can recover.
Yeah, exactly.
Either that, or you can stop playing music entirely and just run the website and have other people make the recordings.
There you go.
That's
It's
a good idea. I should
It's
do that.
treatable. So yeah, let's just well, rounding up the discussion of music. Let's just name some of your favorite songs. Like Crimson. What's your favorite song?
I mean, every song is my favorite song, really, right? So I consider every song a gift. But
You
going
mean
back
you
to,
like Viovis?
I totally like the Viovis. Are you kidding? That's comedy gold right
Skate
there.
Trick?
Skate tricks. Oh God, I didn't even want to remember that. One, maybe not ZMet. I don't know about ZMet. Everything else, but I think I put down Crystal Flash just because it was just so groundbreaking at the time, and it was an incredible track. So that was my official favorite. But I mean, there's just so much good stuff.
Yeah, I think Nate, you mentioned it as your favorite as
Yeah,
well.
Crystal Flash is just it's a journey. It's not a song. It's a journey. I mean, the stuff that Bert put in there, he's got all these sound effects and all this like movie level composition stuff going on. It's ridiculous. And it was made in what, like 2005 or something like that. It's just it's insane.
Yeah, it kind of does tell a story of like the journey.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a complete, like, everything about it. Whenever that song comes on my playlist at any point, I just have to listen to the whole thing because it's just like, it's just all of the sound effects. I don't even know how he did all of this stuff. You know, like he definitely did some Foley work and a bunch of other like sound effects, but man.
I remember the comment on the Shiz forum, like this person locked up themselves in a basement for a month to make this.
I would believe it. Actually, if it was Vert, he probably did it in a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So just didn't go to sleep.
Cool. Okay, I'll pull like a rank, and I pick my favorite song, which is Harmsing's Peter's Chase, a cover of Super Spy Hunter, which like it blew my mind, and it was like, well, for me it's marked the start of this where did all the guitars go era of DoD, like because it kind of expanded the boundaries of what can be a DoD song, like what can go in, like the level of musicianship and the arrangement and the entire fun that these people have in playing this song. It's oozing with fun. It's like it's my favorite. All right, moving on.
Second place in the 10th anniversary month, next to Power.
Yeah, right.
That's zero.
Yeah. So okay, moving on is DoD. Is it art? And yeah, by art, let's like clarify it. I'm talking about the banner art because every month has to have a picture attached to it. So we have our expert on art, Nate Horsfall. So what's your story? How did you got involved?
My story is pretty funny because I stumbled over DoD through a Metroid Metal forum. Somebody posted in there like, "Hey guys, have you heard this Chrono Trigger metal song?" And it was Snapple Man's "I Could Be Banned Soon" Trigger, which I didn't understand why that title existed. Now I understand. Not going to explain it. Other people, I'm sure, will figure it out. Anyway, I stumbled over it. I was mind blown from it, and then I was obsessed. I downloaded all this stuff, and then they made this month Boss versus Hero month. And I hope the person who made this banner is in the chat and going to be offended, but like the banner that was created for that month was I was so like upset by how lame it was. It was just this MS Paint like Mario and something else, and I was just like, oh my god, this is Boss versus Hero. Like, this should be epic. All of this stuff is so epic. And so I spent a weekend making this new banner, and I gave it to Paragon, and I was so afraid of talking to anyone. You know, you hear these songs, you think these people are just incredible like musical gods. You know, I don't know who any of these people are. I had no idea that they were just a bunch of like nerds. Most of them are kids younger than me. And so I submitted it to Paragon like, hey, I made this in case you guys wanted to use it. And it was like, holy shit, yeah. And I said, well, if you guys like it, I'd be happy to do more. And they were like, there you go, you're done. You're doing it now. And that was it for like 8 years.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Basically
yeah, like
what happened.
I also remember like when we were discussing it, like that you were really mad about this particular thing, this free month banner that was
like,
reused.
The free month banner was reused over and over again for like many years before that. I don't know the story. Either of you guys know the story behind that?
So I think that was Jackio, or I think he called himself JQ, made most of that initial art because he was the only guy who I knew who had Photoshop and was willing to actually put up that sort of effort. And yeah, I mean, it was a start, right? It was something.
Yeah. It was fine. I was just like, but free month is a blank canvas, man. Like you could do literally anything, and instead it's Kirby every single time. And so one of my biggest like I'm going to change this was that the free month banners were all going to be wildly different. And every time a new free month banner came up for me, I was just like, I don't know, what do I feel like doing? One time I photoshopped some stuff that was on my floor. Another time, yeah, there's that. I made that in 3D and then drew over the top of it. And it was just, I don't even remember why I made that. I just, at the time, I thought of the idea and then I went with it. And when you've done like 12 3-month banners or something, it starts getting difficult to figure out like, well, what's this one going to be? But yeah, that ended up
What
being
about
my favorite one.
The Free Willy one that I did? It was just like it was just like the guitar, right? Jumping over.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Because I think you're busy. You're like, can you do the 3-month banner for me? And I was like, okay, sure. I mean, I'm an artist too, but I didn't spend a lot of time on any of the banner. Like the banners that have come out these days, really goddamn impressive.
Yeah.
Like holy shit,
yeah.
they're really good. And it's nuts. I really liked the Mario pixels versus polygons one.
Yeah,
I just thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and there's the
music that everybody creates is so epic, right? Why can't the banners be that epic? They should be,
because it's album art, like Strifix said.
It's basically album art, right? And so I don't know about anybody else, but in the early months when I first saw those banners and they were kind of like MS Paint-esque, I was sort of put off by it, like, what's this really going to be? I don't know. And then I clicked the songs and it's like, oh, Crystal Flash, what the fuck? Like this deserves like a 3D rendering. Like, what is this? And so, yeah, like look at that, and then look at polygons versus pixels.
Oh yeah.
Finbeard made those. He did all the pixel art himself, and I don't know what he did to make the polygons. Probably a lot of Photoshop.
I think it's just sketched. So that idea was my idea, and originally that was going to be it was going to be a collab between Finbeard and my current roommate, actually, who's a 3D artist. And I was going to have each of them make half. Like I was going to do Finbeard, do the pixel stuff, but it was just going to be regular Mario. It wasn't going to be Lou Albano.
And that's what makes it perfect. Like
that's what makes it so good, right? Yeah. My roommate backed out because she didn't have time to do it. So then I was like, Finbeard, can you do something? He's like, yeah, I got it. Don't worry. And so yeah, he pulls Lou Albano, and it blew my mind when I saw that banner.
Yeah, I'm really glad how much the artwork has become important enough for me to be on this panel, because it was just I just wanted to bring that into what Dwelling of Duels was. I just felt like Dwelling of Duels music is so good, the artwork, as best as I can, could be as good as that. Now there's a couple early artwork things, many months where we wouldn't even know what the month was until the month of, usually like a week before it was due, and then they'd be like, hey, what should we do this month? Ice month, I guess. Oh, okay, can you get a banner done by tomorrow? And it's like, fuck. And so that got really old, and I started to notice, for me, the reason I stepped down is because I wanted these things to have as much effort as the music, and I felt like I wasn't getting to do that. Like that Nintendo versus Sega banner, I mean, I worked on that for like a month, probably more than that, with originally with a friend of mine, and she couldn't finish it, so I did take over most of the Sega side. But originally she was going to do all Sega, because I didn't know anything about Sega. And man, it's real hard to find equivalent, like, notable characters on Sega when, like, the other side is Smash Brothers, basically, right? What's the Sega equivalent of Smash Brothers? You got to dig real deep. But I found that I wasn't able to start putting these kind of effort in there, and that's Strifix's favorite one. and so I had to just kind of be like, sorry guys, I need to give it up to somebody else, because I just didn't think it was fair to be kind of like kicking these things out. I remember one of the banners, the last one I did, I think, not the last one of the last ones before I was at Eric Peabody Viking Guitar's house. Doing the album artwork for talking to him about his album artwork for Viking Guitar, and then I drove home at fucking 2:00 in the morning, did the free month banner, threw it out there, went to bed, finished the Viking Guitar, and I was like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, like, everybody, like, kind of gets, like, a lot of real life stuff. Okay, like, closing up the banner discussion, just, like, want to show this one important, because it was Will that created this song,
it's
you know.
classic.
This one. Thanks, Ryan, for reminding me about this one.
Oh, Manny,
Alright.
I still have your banner on my wall, by the way.
Which
Like
one?
in a place of honor.
Nice, nice.
All
Yeah, there was a
right,
period of time where I was printing those out and giving them out.
I have a
Fun.
question to Austin. Do we have like any more time? Because I feel like we have to close to round the thing up.
Yeah, it's 45.
You can have like 5 more minutes.
Oh, 5 more. Oh, all right. So I had like one more topic, but like let's kind of match it with.
Real quick, can I drop? Can I show one thing? I still have
Yeah.
the Brevity Month banner that was made by Damon live at Magfest.
Oh, nice.
Our friend Damon live at
Nice.
Magfest. What was it? 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Still got it. I'm gonna hold on to that one for a while.
All right. So
Put that in a frame.
the final topic is what actual DoDs actually is, in my opinion, is you people, like everyone who submits, everyone who attends the listen parties, votes, hanging out in Discord, and of course us people who do the hard work of running the competition. Like we had like another section that we wanted to go through, but we have no more time, so maybe like we gotta do another panel, like for some of the listen parties.
Anytime.
If you guys up with them. But one thing that I really want to do, because I feel it's important, is this. So let me turn this off. Okay, Dracula can go away. And here the list of people who were involved with the competition over the years, from the very start up until now. And I'm gonna read this out loud in my glorious Russian accent, and I want you people in the chat to post all your favorite, like all your heart emotes, like Fs, whatever you want, to express your love and respect to these people who are Crimson, JQ, Kain, Lacroix, Paragon, Strafy, that's me, Ivan Hextog, Catejun, Ryan 8-Bit, Serena, Ailshon, Fox Dragon, Vert, Prince of Darkness, Snappleman, Narc, Adam Zap, Lag, Bahamut, The Creeper, Amiga Drive, Greg Council, GMR, Will 8-Bit X, Overcoat, Thronix, Syndra, Darmak, Dennis, and Fedi. I'm really sorry if I forgot anyone who were involved, but I love you too, and I can say this for this panel, like we love you. Thank you very much for doing this. And I see a lot of
Absolutely love you.
I see a lot of hearts, and
A lot of hearts. And
this,
that's,
this makes me very emotional. It's very good.
This guitar was gifted to me by a lot of people who are in this Dwelling of Duels community. So I still have it.
Oh.
And I got a second one because of you guys. So I've been playing because of you guys. Maybe someday I'll record something.
You played a solo on Chronicles of Time's
I
album.
did. I did play some dude made a Chrono Trigger album and I played on it. Yeah.
All right, so guys, like any closing remarks about DoD and what matters to you personally, and we have to.
Long live Dwelling of Duels.
Long live DoD.
Absolutely. It's just great that it's still exists, that's still running. You know, for many years, I know definitely people on this panel were just like, "Shit, man, it's dying. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And I don't really know what has been done exactly to not keep it from dying, but it just still around.
Yeah.
Still, people still supporting it. You know, there was always this tries, like you were saying, Stray Fig, to do community outreach and things like that. I don't know how much of that ever actually truly was like successful, but we're still here, still doing it.
I think the Russian invasion was definitely successful.
Yeah, getting the Russians in here.
Russian invasion. Let's just a second here. Russian invasion. I mean, like this was after the free month that I brought like 7 people into it from Russian VGM scene, like by deception and intrigue, and this was kind of like pretty big month, and everybody was impressed, and that's how I got to run DoD. I think Crimson, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Nate made like repurposed his banner for that month, making the Rush month's banner. But yeah, for me, Duel of Duels is a huge part of my life, and it like helped me meet a lot of wonderful people, and it helped me improve my skill. Yeah, when I won DoD, I was just numb because I could not believe that. That was a very important milestone for me. So yeah, thank you guys very much for being here, for joining me for this panel. Everybody give a round of applause, or I don't know, nut bread emotes for Boring Crimson, Fox Dragon, also known as Nate Horsfall, Austin Green, also known as Catagen, and Ryan Stern, also known as Ryan 8-Bit, and me, I'm Strifik, Mikhail Ivanov from Moscow, Russia. And next up are some videos from people who were submitting to DoD over the years. They're gonna play the best, I don't know, favorite songs for you guys. Thank you very much.